your statement the other day after there was this incident in Newark, you said they better not touch our members.
Correct.
What happens if they were to go and arrest these members, or if they would try to sanction them here in the House of Representatives?
They'll find out.
What would you do?
They'll find out.
What recourse? But doesn't that broach a...
They'll find out.
Doesn't that go across...
That's a red line.
A few moments later.
The judge in the courtroom, as she was read her rights and read the charges that she now faces in connection with that incident.
I believe she caused the facility to be unsafe. I think she crossed the line.
And we are back, and we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it only takes you just a little flick of the finger. We appreciate it. It helps us keep bringing you this wonderful content. Now, you know that Representative LaMonica McIver has been arrested as a result of we can call it what, a scuffle or a kerfuffle, something that went down the other day, y'all, in front of a detention center, an ICE detention center in New Jersey. She has been arrested. Now, this is after your boy, Hakeem Jeffries. Is that his name? Or Makeem Referees. Your boy said, if you put a finger on any of our people, or if you try to hold them to account in any way, that's a red line. So the red line apparently has been crossed, but McIver was not actually arrested. Somehow she was able to go to court virtually without ever having been arrested, and she was released on her own recognizance, y'all. So that was kind of beneficial to her, right? Let's take a look.
Well, we want to be clear that LaMonica McIver was never taken into custody, and she remains free on her own recognizance tonight, ordered so by that judge in connection with the charges on what happened here outside this detention center earlier this month. As you said, it was a virtual hearing, reporters watching in court on a monitor with she and her attorneys on the monitor, the judge in the courtroom as she was read her rights and read the charges that she now faces in connection with that incident. The only thing she said in court was to the judge, "Yes, Your Honor," but on MSNBC this morning, she had much more to say.
Well, I think, one, this is political intimidation from the Trump administration. I mean, me being charged is absurd, especially when I'm just there to do my job. The confusion and the chaos that you see was caused by ICE officials and Homeland Security. They created this unnecessary situation by arresting the mayor.
Now, y'all, as you can imagine, the responses and reactions to this have varied. Everybody on the left is saying that she did nothing wrong, that this is an overstep, that the situation was tense and there was pushing and shoving on all sides, so she shouldn't be arrested for this. And of course, people on the right are saying, hey, what happened to that nobody's above the law thing that y'all have been saying for the past several years? Is McIver above the law? So it's kind of one of those backs and forth. What do you think about this? Let me know down in the comments. So what are the actual charges that McIver is facing? And also, what kind of, is she facing prison time over this, y'all? Do you think that she should go to prison for this? I mean, you're seeing in the video what actually happened. Let's take a look at what the charges are and what the potential penalty might be.
And as you can see behind me, those protests continue. They have been out here virtually every day since this detention center opened. McIver, meanwhile, faces a maximum of 8 years in prison if, in fact, she is indicted and then convicted on these charges. There are 2 counts each, as I said, of assault, impeding an officer, and she is back in court on June 11th for a preliminary hearing that the judge insisted will be in person. Reporting live from Newark, I'm Pat Battle, News for New York, turning it back over to you.
Get this, y'all. Representative Nancy Mace says, breaking, we just filed an official resolution to expel LaMonica McIver from the U.S. House of Representatives. No one is above the law. Assault is a crime. The American people deserve better, y'all. Check this out. To kick her out of the House, Tom Homan chimed in and he gave his opinion about this whole situation. And of course, Tom Homan is the nation's top cop as it relates to immigration, the border, etc., etc. And so he chimed in and gave his opinion on what happened with McIver and whether or not she should be charged. Let's take a look. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
Joining us now is Tom Homan, border czar for the Trump administration. Thank you for being here. You just heard the Congresswoman. She says she was there to do her job, congressional oversight, and that these charges amount to political intimidation. In a statement, she also said it was ICE agents who created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation. Do you believe that they could have unnecessarily escalated the situation, given that members of Congress have a right to be there and to go in?
Well, look, they have a right to be there for oversight, but there's a proper way to do it. Forcing your way in the facility, putting hands on an ICE officer is not the way to do it. So I think she was out of line. I've seen the videotape. I've seen 6 or 7 different videotapes that show her acting unprofessionally. These are the same people who, for 4 years, are saying President Trump wasn't above the law. Well, either is she. There's a line you can't cross, and I think she crossed it. Now, I'll leave it up to the Alina Habba, the prosecutor who's handling this case, to prove the case, but the video makes it clear to me that she wasn't being professional that day. She certainly didn't act like a member of Congress. She certainly could have requested a tour. They give tours all the time, and if she got the tour, and many people have had the tour since, they've seen a grade A facility, the highest detention standards in the industry, that puts to shame any facility, county or state, that New Jersey has. So it was. I think it was politics over public safety. That's a facility where the worst of the worst are housed. We can't lose control of that facility. But her actions cause a ruckus at that facility and makes that facility unsafe.
Did she cause the ruckus, though? Because you acknowledge that she has a right to be there. You put out the administration put out a document back in February saying members of Congress will be allowed to go in. They said that they had to wait for hours. And I want to ask you about the word that you've very carefully used, which is unprofessional. Even if you believe she was unprofessional, did you see something in that tape that suggested she was criminal? Is there a tape that we haven't seen? Because the charging documents suggest that she somehow assaulted 2 of the ICE agents there. I did not see that in that tape.
Well, I've seen tapes where she has made body contact with ICE officers and pushing them. I mean, there's a lot of tapes out there. I mean, there's numerous tapes.
In a scuffle, is it normal that people would make body contact, though, Mr. Homan?
Bottom line is, you say she has a right to do her oversight, but there's a right way to do it. Forcing yourself through officers to get in that facility is not the way to do it. We have many Congress visit our facilities. What she did was unprofessional.
Do you believe that she was a threat?
I believe she caused the facility to be unsafe. When ICE officers are being pulled off their duties to deal with a member of Congress who's forced away in the facility and puts her hands on an ICE officer is unprofessional. I think she crossed the line. Again, I'm not the prosecutor. I don't have to prove it in court, but the video I saw shows her at fault.
So, y'all, if we're going to have this nobody's above the law mantra, you know, the only question would be a whataboutism, right? If this were somebody else who had pushed, shoved, impeded with a police officer, might they face charges? And we know that the answer is yes. So we have to play the whatabout game. And, you know, I've already said many times, I don't really like playing the whataboutism game, but we have to play it. In this situation, if we're saying nobody's above the law, because then we're comparing people. What's the treatment of this person versus what's the treatment of that person? With that said, y'all, I don't want to see LaMonica McIver do prison over this, y'all. That's just me personally. I mean, they had said initially she had body slammed somebody. If there's evidence of a body slam, that's much different. But based on what I've seen, no, I don't think she should do prison for this. So I want to know what you think, y'all. Let me know. I totally agree nobody's above the law. I don't think anybody should do prison for that little bit of pushing and shoving that we saw right there. Not prison time, y'all. Come on. But let me know what you think, y'all. Let me know in the comments. Please put a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite, least favorite, and moderately favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Y'all go down, hit the link in the description. If you are a person with a retirement, $50,000 to $100,000 or more, you need to get this information, y'all. Do you not see what's happening in the economy? Y'all, something is on the way. Now, I don't know if it's going to show up. I don't know. But something is on the way that's huge and probably not good. So I'm not a doom and gloomer. I'm not going to go into all the details. Look it up on your own. Look up the bond market. Look up what's happening with the bond market. Look up inflation. Look up the US dollar. Look up the big print. Look these things up. If you have a retirement, particularly if you're close to retirement age, you need to look into securing it. Go hit the link, paralegold.com, paralegold.com, or call 844-651-8334. 844-651-8334. Talk to my people at Augusta Precious Metals. Get the information. It cannot hurt. It can only help you to have more information. I want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.